famous quote was, if you talk to 1,000 coaches, all 1,000 will talk about fundamentals, and maybe 2 or 3 of them really mean it. You're known as a stickler for the fundamentals, the little details. Is that something that you were able to really develop from Joe?
No question. And you know, I was very fortunate to start out at the Division II level working for a guy named Denny Dowds. And Denny Dowds is still the head coach at East Stroudsburg in Pennsylvania. 40 years that he's been there. And he was that way. And it was interesting. In time, I learned this. I didn't know this, but his first assistant coaching job when he came out of Slippery Rock was working for Joe at up in Erie, coaching high school football. And that's where he learned it, from Joe. So it went all the way back there. And when I went to East Stroudsburg and began coaching, the guy I learned from back in 1982 was Denny Dowds. And he was already influenced by Joe from his experience with him in Erie. And then when I reconnected with Joe years later, you know, we had that common bond all the way back to Coach Dowds, and you could see it. But the way we did things at East Stroudsburg were a lot of the ways Joe did things coaching high school football in Erie, Pennsylvania back in those days. And that's where everything always started with Coach Dowds, and obviously Coach Moore, as you're mentioning. It all started with fundamentals and techniques, and that you teach that and they learn it and they understand it and they're able to execute it, and it's consistent and it's an everyday effort by the coach and by the player to never go past the fundamentals worrying about who you're blocking, but always understand how you're going to make the block. And we'll obviously have to know who we have, that's very important, but how we do it never loses any importance to the coach and to the player, because the players pick up on, you know, if you're just worried about who you got, that's all you're ever talking about, then they don't take the same attitude about the fundamentals that we feel are so important.
What experience